It's Halloween 2010. This is my attempt at making the Dragon Rider costume. So here it goes. This is the excuse me. This is a view of the steel arms that will be the neck support of the dragon neck and head. As you can see, this bar here has a swivel mounted to it, which will be mounted to my lower waist. So as the dragon, looks like the dragon's head will be coming out of my waist at that point, but my legs will be the dragon's. So as you'll see later on, it's going to look as if I'm riding on the dragon. This arm also, I have these tightened up right now, but this has a swivel joint. This will allow the dragon's head to come up and down and left and right to look over the audience or the judges. This is the mesh wire, lightweight wire. I think it's made of aluminum. That will be the reinforcement structure of the neck. I'm going to cover that with a paper mache substance, or maybe spray it with some type of silicone spray or something to give it more of a skin texture look once I have the reinforcement built. This is a view of the fairly cheap dragon mask that will be used as the head of the dragon. You can see he's got horns and the gray hair for cover. This will be mounted around the neck. I did have an additive to this mask, and I will be probably adding some paint and texture to the face as well, and maybe more focusing on the eyes. One feature that is not included with this mask, if you look online, is the nose. I took 2 electric cigarettes and mounted them into the nostrils of the nose, and attached, instead of smoking the electric cigarette, this is a disposable filter here. I popped the cap off the end of it and mounted a plastic hose, which you see here, to each individual cigarette. So instead of sucking on the cigarette, I blow through the other end, and this is what happens. This is a cheap way of getting around having to buy an expensive portable smoke machine, which I did look up as an idea, and they are around $500. So for $20 and some cheap hose from Lowe's, you can get the same effect. Dragon blowing fire. Obviously I will not be blowing on these hoses. I'm going to use a device such as this, maybe a little bit bigger, something that I can squeeze the air with my hand instead of actually blowing on the hoses with my mouth. One thing I might add to this costume, if you decide that you're ever going to attempt to build this or copy these instructions, feel free to do so. I did. I am basically modifying the existing costume that I seen online, and I thought, well, that's okay. Won some competitions, but I think I can make that a lot better. So 2 things to remember: if you're going to try to build this costume, make sure that there probably is a couple of competitions that you can enter. That way you can get your money back, because you're probably going to be spending, I'm guessing, about $500 or close to that before the costume that you're fixing to see built, hopefully before Halloween, is completed. Here you see some aluminum plates. I think they're 6 by 18 in length. This is really lightweight aluminum, and I'm going to be bending this for supports to go around the neck support bar that swivels, to be able to attach the wire to before I do the paper mache effect. I don't know if this will be shown in the video. This is a first attempt, and I'm kind of just playing this by ear, but I have an idea of what I want to do. But this will be the aluminum that I'm using as a reinforcement to attach this to. Now you can see that the aluminum plating that I showed you earlier is formed and mounted around the metal head support or neck support. like so, and I use brads to fasten them in, and hopefully that will give enough support for the mesh wire to attach to. And here we have the metal brackets mounted back to the hinge support. You see it looks like something like this, and the wire will go around the neck, will go around it and fasten to the top of here. Gives us something to fasten to instead of just a flat piece of metal. Hopefully that'll give enough support to work the neck without it falling off on us. And here is the wire mesh mounted around the brackets. I'm using these brads as I showed earlier. Just little store-bought brads. Makes it a lot easier to put it together versus just bolting it. So you can see that I have the top neck and the base of the neck going together, and then we're going to paper mache all of this. This is just an extra aluminum piece that we had laying around. We decided to put this on here as the head rest. This will give more support as it goes up inside of the mask, so the mask can't move or get knocked off. It just added extra support here. This will be trimmed off to fit the difference in the mask. And now we finally have a dragon head with the neck, and it's mounted. The hose are running down through the wire mesh, and now it's time to paper mache. I've done this since 3rd grade, so wish me luck. Right now I'm just taking piano wire straight and bending it for kind of a horn effect. It will be basically the paper mache skeleton, if you will, to give it support so it'll stand up and be easier to form. Make it look like there's horns or some shit like that. Alright, here's our attempt at paper mache with newspapers and flour and water. And I read on the website that you can add wood glue, which we did, to the mixture. And it's a really messy situation. And it helps keeps the paper mache from cracking, it says. So, and we don't need that because a cracked dragon does not look good. So we'll see what happens. Here you can see that I'm putting pieces of newspaper in between these horns to substitute as a filler. And then I'm going to paper mache around those. This is the first coat of the paper mache. Turned out pretty good. Still want to see how hard it gets once it dries to determine whether we want to put a second coat on. Here you can see the starting of our work on the scales. We're using paper towels cut in little squares, and we're trying to build kind of a scalish looking effect and skin-like texture instead of a comic book or text on the neck itself. So it'll cover up a lot of it before the paint. That way we won't have to do too many coats of paint. Now we have the almost finished neck with the paper towels, paper mache around the whole entire neck structure. Kind of give it a scale-like effect before painting, and hopefully that glue will harden that up quite a bit. Down here on the bottom, I'm going to have we're going to try to put like a belly puffed up, scaly like style, I guess. Kind of look like a dragon's underneath. See what that looks like before we paint it, and we'll see what happens. Doesn't she look good?
Don't. You better not.
Mixing up that paper mache. I've taken the same napkins and just folded little scales, and put paper mache scales down the belly to make it look more like a dragon's underneath on his neck before painting. It's more like a duck right now, but That's a head reinforcement. So we'll see what else is next. Now that the paper mache is dried, I've just put the dragon head on here to kind of see if everything looks okay. So this will be a side view of the dragon. I went ahead and skipped a few steps because it's quite boring watching me cut wood with the skill saw because I suck at it. But these will be the dragon feet. My feet will, see if I can get an angle here. My feet will reside up here. To here will be my toe. And it will look as if this part right here is part of the dragon's leg as well. We'll have a two-jointed leg effect, and we'll see how this works. Now I'm going to be taking these aluminum bars here, real lightweight aluminum, expensive if you buy these at Lowe's. I think it's kind of a ripoff. And I'm going to be mounting them to these aluminum braces here at a swivel to go up the sides of my legs up to my knee for leg support. So next time you see it, it'll be on and mounted so we don't waste time. Okay, now we have the aluminum bars mounted to the feet of the dragon, I guess we can call them, and I'm going to put a connection from here to here which will support my calf, and that is in the process of being made here. And I'll cut this right there, and that will mount inside of these to support the calf. Okay, here is the almost finished product besides the metal belt, or the belt that's going to go around the leg to buckle in front on basically on my shin. These cables here I bought to support as basically the weight will try to go down to the bottom, but it acts as a tendon to keep my ankle supported and my weight supported. Get you a closer look at that. And this is just mounted through a little eye hook. So hopefully I can stand in this. Okay, now here's the finished shell of the dragon leg. It will seem as if my leg has two joints, one being here and the knee coming up here being another joint. So now all we have to do is take one last additive, and I'll add a toe cover here to support my toe, because it puts a lot of pressure on my toe here. And then we will cover it with wire and make it look like a dragon's foot around it, and paper mache it again. I love paper mache. Not. Here is a mask that I ordered for the rider of the costume, which will be obviously me, but this will be the mask I will be wearing. This mask is called the Keeper of the Crypt. I thought it was kind of a good look for the dragon rider. Kind of looks like a pissed off guy. He's been in a couple battles. So that will be the mask. I just got this in today, and I figured I would let you guys see it. Okay, now we have a finished boot. I used the same aluminum to do a foot support here, so I can hold the